Today, we're going to talk about what are the secrets to a good, abundant life. Hi, my name is Michelle Liddy. Welcome to Living a Limitless Life. I help people connect to a positive self-identity for growth and expansion in all areas of our life. So to get into it, because my channel is about self-identity, so this is an expansion, another perspective, another way to look at our self-identity. I'm going to go through a lot of information, but it's really juicy and good, I think. These are the things that I was looking for when I was disconnected and feeling bad about myself and had a low self-worth. And it's like, these are all the pieces that I'm going to put together for you here in a way that worked for me. And I'm hoping that it'll work for you in understanding how to attach to those good parts of our self-identity and expand on those pieces of ourselves or cultivate certain parts of ourselves in order to feel good and have a good, abundant life that's satisfying and fulfilling and you feel happy and just a sense of peace and joy on a consistent basis. All right, so self-identity really comes down to everything in life and what you receive in life, how you see the world, relationships we have, positive or negative, comes down to our relationship with ourselves and our own self-identity, how we identify with ourselves, whether we internally identify with ourselves or externally, or sometimes it may be just a mixture of both. So self-identity, connection to ourself. An external self-identity or external connection is where we can get into kind of like some jams, where things don't work in our favor because we're looking outside of ourselves who we need to be inside of ourselves. It will never work. It'll always cancel each other out. And these are just some things that I'm going to highlight on when we're trying to connect to ourselves externally. Self-rejection. Self-rejection can come in forms of, I'm not smart enough, I just don't feel good enough. You might nitpick things that you do, feeling like you should have known this or you shouldn't have known that. You should have said this. Things that you kind of go home at night and look at, kind of review your day or conversations that you have with people, and you criticize it, like you're kind of judging yourself on, gosh, should I have said that, or should I have done that, or should I have, behaved in this manner? And that's just kind of rejecting ourselves instead of really accepting who we are. I said what I said, and you actually really don't think about it. You really feel good about what you said. Comparing ourselves. When we compare ourselves to other people, meaning maybe they dress nicer, or they walk better, or they know what to say, or they do a job better, or they have a certain skill set. How come I don't have that? Maybe if I had that, then I would be good enough. Maybe if I did this, I would be good enough. Maybe if I dressed a certain way, I'd be good enough. I got caught up in those things. Like, how do you get positive results from people? Like, what behaviors is somebody else doing that maybe I need to do? I would view it and kind of compare myself maybe to the way that somebody, a lot of it for me was just kind of the way they were acting or behaving. And maybe I saw somebody acting really happy and joyful, and because I really wasn't in that space at that time in my life at a particular point, I would judge it and say, look at them, they're all happy. I would say this more so internally. Sometimes I'd express it to a friend or something, but I would judge the way they were being because I didn't have that level of energy within myself to be like that. I didn't feel comfortable going out and being joyful or laughy or jokey with somebody. I'm not saying all the time, but sometimes that definitely would come up for me. So when we're comparing ourselves, sometimes we're comparing in a judging kind of way, like, why do they have to do that, or why do they have to do this, or why are they so happy? Because our energy level isn't up there like these other people. So we will judge it to make ourselves feel good in our lower state, in our lower energy. Judging and criticizing others, nitpicking the way that people walk or dress, or how they eat, or, anything about them, judging their behavior, the things that they say. That's not only our are we judging that person and criticizing them, but we're doing that to ourselves too. If we look back at ourselves, we're judging the way we walk or talk or what we say, how we're being, and that internally judging ourselves turns to externally judging other people in order to feel good. We think that by judging ourselves, criticizing ourselves is going to help us feel good, or judging other people is going to help us feel good. It doesn't. It really breaks. It's like it cancels out. You're trying to get to a good through a bad. I'm trying to feel good about myself by criticizing someone else, and that will never match up. But you get to a good by a good. I really feel good about myself today. I really feel good who I am today. And then you're going to feel good about other people because you feel good about yourself is the flip side. And I'll get into that right after I explain this piece. A lot of external, connecting is feeling like externally somebody needs to give you something in order for you to feel good about yourself, or accepted, or lovable, or joyful, or happy, or whatever positive feeling you want to feel. You're putting that pressure on other people to fulfill that for you. So if they fall short of it, you get mad at them instead of getting frustrated with yourself on not connecting with yourself externally. You're trying to find that connection externally by somebody giving it to you, but that's all transactional. It doesn't last long term. It's only a transaction. That person says, oh my gosh, you're so fun to be with today, and you feel really good for maybe an hour, but then it goes away because you need to know that you're a fun person and that you like to have fun throughout your day, and the things that you do. You don't like and accept who you are is where that judgment and criticism comes towards other people. And you need and want approval from others. You're looking for that approval or that acceptance or that behavior towards you that you're interpreting that somebody is viewing you in a positive light in order for you to feel well. And then if you view that person viewing you in a negative light, you won't feel good about yourself. It's just a very rocky kind of connection with ourselves. It's really externally giving that power or that perspective to that other person, whether you feel good or not. And so you're just going to go up and down. And so on the flip side, if we're internally connected, we're not up and down on the way that we feel emotionally, hour by hour or day by day or week by week. When we're internally connected, we love ourselves, meaning we're gentle and kind with ourselves. If we make a mistake, we're like, well, I made a mistake. I'll learn, from that. Or you're really not concerned with making a mistake. You don't feel embarrassed. You don't feel humiliated. If somebody says something negative about the mistake you made, you don't really take it that personal. You're just like, oh, okay, well, I made a mistake. Big deal. I'm really not putting that much concern or pressure on myself over it. Now that person may, but that's their issue, not yours. They're trying to judge you through their standard of living and how they judge and criticize themselves. And you're standing in your strength of knowing, I know who I am, and I'm not giving myself any judgment. I'm just accepting I made a mistake and I move on. And it's really simple, fast, and insignificant when you feel connected to yourself, because you know who you are and you love all aspects of you. The silly parts, the parts that, that need growth. Maybe, there's times when you aren't your best self, you aren't your nicest self, and you're fine with that part of yourself. You're self-accepting. When you do make a mistake, you accept that. When anything that may not go right in your life, you're accepting of it and you move on, because you can never really get to the right way of doing things until you kind of take some detours of doing things the not right way or the incorrect way. And the incorrect way is not wrong. It's just your journey, your path of course correcting along the way. I did this right. I did this right. I need to learn how to do this a little bit better. So it's all just a learning. When you feel good about yourself, you know that you're on a journey of learning. And then there's some things that you do awesome and you just do it so well. And there's other things that you need to improve on. Just like any kind of skill set, so is an emotional state of mind. It is a skill set. It's a habit of constantly practicing that type of behavior, that type of perspective, that type of mindset, that type of outlook in order to get into a habitual pattern of thinking about things in a way that's gentle, kind, and positive to yourself. Self-respect, knowing kind of, there's times where I'm like, gosh, when do I stand up and say something and when do I not stand up and say something? If somebody's just being outright rude and dismissive to me, if they're really not somebody who's that important to me, it's acquaintance, I will just kind of move on and let it go. But if it's a friend or somebody you're in connection with on a consistent basis, it could be at work, it could be in your business, it could be in your entrepreneurial life, it could be in your mom life. If somebody's consistently being rude or disrespecting, then yeah, I'm gonna say something and I'll pull them, aside, not in front of other people. I like to have more in-person conversations, not through text, or if the time doesn't allow to have it, definitely have a phone conversation. That would be number 2 on my list, but you do what's comfortable for you. Have that conversation with the person and say, when you say this, I don't really appreciate it, or I don't really like it, or it doesn't make me feel good. Now, if the person's open and they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that, I'm sorry, then you know that you can grow from that relationship and move on, because you may be doing something one day and somebody brings it to your attention and you're just unaware, and you take it with humbleness and love towards that other person. But if a person gets defensive and they are throwing it back on you, blaming you, or saying you're too sensitive, or not taking responsibility, then you kind of know you can't really go into this conversation with that person or grow that relationship from where it's at. So for me, I may pull back, not really be around this person as much, because they're really not into growing or learning from some of their behaviors and moving on together in a friendship. So I may limit my contact with them altogether, or just may limit it and not be around them that much. But from my experience, I probably most likely will pull away completely over time. It depends on the situation, but you may just really pull away quickly and swiftly if it's just too much and you're not feeling good about yourself in this person's presence. When we're internally connected, we feel enough, meaning I feel enough whether I make a mistake. I feel enough when I feel I do something well. I feel enough talking to this person who's really energetic and high-spirited, and I feel good enough when I talk to somebody who may not be as energetic. I feel comfortable talking to all kinds of people or being around all kinds of people because I'm comfortable with myself. I like and accept who I am. So I like and accept who I am. Now, this is such a place of peace when you love and like and accept who you are. You just like who you are. You like your silliness. You like your seriousness. You like your work mode. You like your fun mode. You like all aspects of yourself. You're not judging and criticizing different aspects of yourself. And that's when you really accept yourself and you feel comfortable with who you are. You know what you like and don't like. So when you know what you like and don't like, you're not comparing yourself to other people, because you know what you like and don't like. Now, you may admire something that somebody is wearing or has or bought, or a behavior that they do, or a belief that they have, or a personality trait that they have. You may admire it and go, gosh, I really admire that. I think I want to incorporate that into my life. And you look at it from a loving perspective. You're not judging it and criticizing it because you don't carry that trait or that material thing. You actually are taking it from a loving perspective and saying, hey, I could learn that trait, or if I really want to, I could probably save my money, or if you have the money, go buy that thing that they have and get it. When you know who you are and you know what you like, it makes life really easy. You're not confused, and you're like, I like the way I feel around this person, so you want to be around that person more. And I don't really care for the way I feel around this person. So you don't judge them, you just move away from that situation with the person and move on to another group of people or other people. You stay less in judgment when you feel really connected with yourself. You just accept people where they are, who they are. You accept yourself where you are and who you are. And you're more just loving and accepting of other people around you because that's how you feel about yourself. Now, Oh, and I do want to say, when you know and like who you are, you choose things that further complement who you are. Whether it is a business decision, does this complement my perspective? This complement how I want to show up in the world and be seen in the world? Does it complement my value system, what I believe in? Does this person complement how I like to be around people? I'm kind, nice, compassionate, understanding, open to other perspectives, open to when people bring things to my attention. So you complement yourself when you're in internal connection. Okay, so then it goes down to I just like to give comparisons on what it looks like when we are disconnected and when we are connected. And it's just a further expansion of what I explained earlier, and it's just different examples of how to get this perspective interpreted from you, my audience. Disconnected. Here's some beliefs around being disconnected. You highly expect others to meet the needs for you. Like, if you don't feel good, you expect that other person to say things in order for you to feel good. If you feel angry, you blame that person. Well, you made me angry, and you put everything outside of yourself. And you have high expectations of people. Like, when you feel that they fall short of it, you get mad at them, and they're not really trying to meet your expectation. They're actually living out their own expectations. And I used to do this, like, expect people to have to be this or say this or do this. And it was just, first of all, it's tiring on me to monitor that from somebody else. And B, it's just not really respectful to another person to put that much expectation on them to meet certain things that they have no clue of what you're thinking about, and they're supposed to meet it. And then when they don't, you get angry at them or say that they fell short when they weren't trying to meet what you're expecting of them to begin with. They're living out their own separate life from you and meeting their own expectation of what they have for themselves. We get hard on ourselves when we're disconnected. It's like everything has to have to be perfect. I have to say the perfect thing, do the perfect thing, do the perfect job, make the perfect decisions. That's a lot of pressure. Nobody's perfect except God, but nobody's perfect. To put that much expectation on ourselves is very stressful and tiring, and just not very peaceful or comfortable. I felt like I had to be perfect all the time. Just a lot was emotional perfection, just being the perfect person in order to be liked, loved, and accepted, being the perfect person in order to be accepted at my job, being the perfect person in order to be accepted in my friendships and groups and that types of thing. That was a lot of pressure I put on myself. I've let so much of that go and just really get into life doesn't have to be perfect. It just flow with it and be in the moment and go with things. Don't feel good enough about yourself. Now, this can be an underlining thing that you just don't feel good about yourself. And when you don't feel good about yourself, there's a disconnection. And it usually most likely stems from a parent or a caregiver, that whatever you did was not good enough for them. And you came with your best at like 4 years old or 5 years old, and your parent just basically said, that's not good enough. Like, you could do better, or look at doesn't look nice, or you didn't do a good job, or whatever. That's just so, just deteriorating to a little one, as a little child, being heard words that's not good, or you're bad, or nobody's gonna like you acting like that. That's very harmful, and a child doesn't know that. They don't know that what they're doing causes a possibly negative reaction. They just need to be guided with love, saying, you might want to do this, you might want to do that, when you're talking to a child. But everybody has their own ways of doing things, but that's okay. That's all sometimes a parent or a caregiver knew at that time. Now we can take responsibility as an adult and change those perspectives of ourselves that other people put on us. look, when we're disconnected, we look at other people to see the bad in them, to criticize and judge. When we're criticizing and judging, that means we're looking at flaws in other people. And we're not looking for the best in people. We're just looking for flaws to judge, criticize. They're not doing this right. They're not doing that right. Oh my gosh, look at their hair. Look at the way they're dressed. Look at the way that they made this decision. That's just looking at the bad in people instead of trying to look through a perspective funnel of looking at the best in people. When we're disconnected, we don't accept who we are. We don't feel comfortable. We could feel real jittery, feeling like we constantly have to be on the move, doing something, or we just don't feel accepting of ourselves. Like everything we do internally, we're just judging ourselves constantly. How we made a decision, what we did at work, conversations we've had with different people. We just don't accept who we are and the decisions that we make and just move on. We're not confident with what we do and the decisions that we make. Now, flipping to the other side, when we are connected, I do like to give these comparisons because it helps me. I know I'm just a very visual person. I really like to see, what does it look like when you map it out when we are disconnected? What does it look like when we map it out when we're connected? So moving over here to the connected side, when we are connected, we feel good about ourselves. Let's say we have a thought and go, oh, I like how I did that project at work. I think it turned out really nice. I like how I made this decision. Or, gosh, that was a really nice conversation that I had with this person. It feels enriching. It feels fulfilling. It feels good. We accept self and others. Like we don't really look at somebody having a bunch of flaws and all these mistakes. Like if somebody does something silly, we just say, well, that's just who they are, and you accept it. You're really not comparing, like, I can't believe they did that, and so doesn't do that. You're just accepting people for who they are, how they speak. A lot of times people will pronounce words incorrectly, because I do that sometimes, and I go, don't worry about it. I speak that language. Or if somebody, says a wrong word, incorrect word in relating to something, I do that myself. So I'm like, yeah, I get what you're saying. I totally know what you were trying to say. And just kind of validate them, because I do that. I could do that when I'm talking to different people, is I use the wrong word or I'll pronounce it incorrectly, or just those kinds of things. You really want to look for good in other people. When you're connected, you're looking for the best in people. Like you're walking into situations going, okay, this situation is going to go really well with this person. And you're looking for the best in them. Like, oh my gosh, look at, they're so positive, or they said this, or I like their personality. I like how they did this or did that. Gosh, they dress really cute, or I like their purse, or whatever it may be. And you're not saying you like these things just to try to make it happen. You genuinely, when you notice something about somebody, you appreciate those different qualities and things about a person. And it could be somebody you know very well. It could be an acquaintance. It could be somebody you just swiftly walk by at the grocery store. When we are connected, we don't expect so much from other people. We don't expect other people to meet our needs, our emotional needs. We don't expect other people to say the perfect thing or be the perfect person or do the right thing all the time. We're not expecting it. When we feel peaceful and secure and safe within ourselves, and we don't expect others to fulfill that for us. We fulfill it within ourselves by being connected to our God. My God is Jesus Christ. Whatever your external connection is spiritually, or whatever that may be, I'm looking for God's approval and how He sees me, and not looking for this external connection on somebody else meeting my needs. And I think I talked about this a little earlier, is we make mistakes and we laugh about it, and we just don't really see it as a major mistake. We just see it as something that we need to learn more and build a better skill set, or learn a different perspective. Like for me, a lot of times it's just like, what's the different way I need to look at this in order to get a different outcome? or see a different perspective in line with what I want from this outcome. And that's a big thing to ask yourself is, what is the outcome I want from this situation? And what behaviors, thoughts, feelings, stories do I need to tell myself in order to connect to in order to get this outcome? Now, if I want a positive outcome with somebody, I'm going to say this is going to go really well. We're going to have great conversation. I'm really going to enjoy this person's company. I like who I am. And those are going to foster good outcomes in our life. Now, what supports a higher energy and what supports a lower energy, and what are things that complement a low vibration or energy, and what things complement a higher vibration or energy. So externally, a lot has to do with our food and what we eat. If we eat a lot of sugary things, a lot of high carb things, anything in excess is going to break down in our bodies a lot of times into some type of sugar, but balancing things and moderately eating things feeds our brain, and it feeds the way that we think, and it feeds our perspectives and the way that we see things in life. So if we're eating, and I can tell when I eat a lot of junk, like I think I've mentioned this in another video, is if I'm eating, my favorites are Reese's, Kit Kat, Twix, I like Snickers bars. If I eat a lot of that in like one sitting, I could have bad dreams at night. I feel fear and anxiety. It's probably because of the chemicals that they use within these kind of junky foods. And I could start looking at life in a negative perspective. And so when I know that I eat really well, like a nice balance of carbs and fats, and I eat meat, when I eat a nice balance of things, I can tell that my mood is feeling good. I'm feeling positive. I'm feeling energetic. And sometimes I just have so much energy, I'm not able to go to sleep at night because I ate so well. The books and, okay, so actually let me back up here a little bit. The beliefs and thoughts that we have turn into mindsets. So if I'm feeling so on the previous flip from the previous chart, if we're criticizing and judging people, we are going to, it's going to bring our energy and our mood down. And it feeds into a lower vibration or a lower energy. Criticizing and judging is just low energy. So the beliefs and thoughts we have can contribute to the way that we feel. So I know sometimes it's not easy to just break out of these negative thoughts. I'm not saying that, oh, just think positive. And I explained it in another video, I believe my last video, which I haven't posted yet. So when I refer to it, it will be posted. In my other video, it talks about how, gosh, I totally lost my thought. How we're connected to lower energy, a feeling. So we have to feel into those feelings that we want to feel. So if we're feeling really low, like angry, how can I just feel neutral? Now, you're not going to jump to happy from angry. That's a big jump. Emotionally, it's just feeling neutral. How do I not have any emotion right now around anger or anything, and then start raising that emotional level up to I feel content, I feel okay, I feel semi-okay, into, down the road feeling good or happy. So our beliefs and thoughts contribute to our perspective of the way that we see the world. And if it's negative, that keeps us in a low energy state. The way that we feed our brain with positive or negative is the books that we read, or the TV shows that we watch, or the movies we watch. All of this contributes to how we, feeling good emotionally, like a higher vibration or a low vibration. So if we're watching movies that are just scary or gory, or the value systems are just really out there, like a bunch of cheating or killing. It really does lower our vibration. Now, I used to watch the show Special Victims Unit. I just was really intrigued by the storylines and the mindsets of the serial killers. And then I would go to bed at night and just start having nightmares, and I'd just be in fear. And I knew and I know that fear would kind of carry on throughout the day for me. I had to stop watching that show, even though it was very interesting, the way that they told the story and the characters. I had to stop watching shows like that. It was just too scary. Not only was it affecting my sleep, but it was actually affecting me throughout the day, and the way that I saw the world, the way that I saw people, through this perspective of these, serial killers. So now, what supports, so other thing that supports a low vibration are the conversations that we have. If we're gossiping and complaining and judging and criticizing and nitpicking, those kinds of conversations are going to keep us low, and they're going to make us they're going to cause us to not feel very good about who we are, and just not feel good or peaceful in general. The friends that we have, if we have a friend that is just complaining all the time and just negative and doesn't treat you very well or doesn't speak to you very well, that can keep us in a lower state. So a big thing is that we become whoever we hang out with, our friends. So if our friends are not very positive, then it's going to keep us in a not very positive state. So those things externally feed our brain into keeping us in that low vibration, that low energy. Now, we have to feed our brain positive things in order to keep that energy up. We do have to cultivate those, the food that we eat, meaning eating whatever your diet is, know that, or have it be a healthy diet, whatever it is. If you're vegan, if you're paleo, if you're keto, whatever it is, it's really cutting out the sugars, it's really cutting out the junk food, and that's what gets a hold of our mind, like the chemicals that they use in some of these foods. And the more organic we can get with our meats that we eat, the vegetables that we eat, the fruits that we eat, eating greens, eating fruits, eating, good meats that are organic, that aren't filled with a lot of hormones or chemicals or fake things in it, it feeds our body, and that flows through our body, these foods, and feeds our thoughts and our feelings and our thinking patterns. But believe it or not, it's so interesting how much food plays a part in the way that we think and how we feel about ourselves. Beliefs, thoughts, and mindset. So we rest upon good things. And in my last video, I talked about putting together a collage of things that you want to think about. Like, I'm looking outside of my house right now. I live in the mountains, and I'm looking at the beautiful trees and my deck and how beautiful it is outside. So whatever it is that you want to look at that makes you feel good, you want to have pictures of that, either on a vision board, or pictures, or things on your phone that you can look at, and just visualize those things and feel good. And what are the feelings that you have about those things, and get into the feelings of that emotion, whatever it be, joy, happiness, excitement, elation, whatever it is. Love is such a high vibrational feeling, to get into the love of, for your child, for your spouse, for your partner, whoever that may be. Friends, when, for me, if I feel really good about around somebody, and I feel good about myself, and I feel like I add value to them, and they feel good around me. Okay, so it's also feeding ourselves with good, inspiring books, whether they're based on truth or not truth. The TVs and movies that you watch, make sure that they're positive and uplifting, and foster, good relationships and good things that are happening in the world. The music, whatever music that is, it just makes you feel energized and upbeat. Now, music that's just discounting and disrespectful, that's just music that isn't going to add to a lively feeling inside. And so just pulling these things together as the right side really showed more support and high energy and high vibration, and then the left side showed just things that fostered low energy and low vibration. And when we're feeding our mind and our body and our spirit with supportive, inspirational, positive things, it does elicit thoughts and behaviors to align with positive things. If we're feeding ourselves negative things, whether the things that we eat, the things that we watch, the people that we're around, it elicits a negative perspective in our lives. Now, moving on to living a good, abundant, high energy life comes down to, of course, the right side, where it's the positive things that we feed ourselves. And then when we're positive inside, we have good self-worth, we have good self-acceptance, we love ourselves. Then we're going to attach to other people that have good self-worth, love themselves, have good self-acceptance, can laugh and be funny and silly. So whatever we're feeling inside is the accumulation of all of these things that I spoke about on the right side, these positive things. And then these positive things are internally who we are, and then who we are sends out a beacon externally to another person that feels that same way. Now, this can happen on the negative as well. If we don't feel good about who we are, it's going to send a beacon to another person who doesn't feel good about who we are. And then we're like, how come we always get in these relationships where we don't feel good, or this person doesn't treat me well? Because you don't feel good about yourself and you're not treating yourself well. So you're going to find somebody else that needs to affirm that to you, that you're not good and that you're not worth being treated well. But when we feel good about ourselves, we love ourselves, we accept ourselves, we're going to attract somebody else that loves themselves and attracts them, accepts themselves and respects themselves. And then you're going to match that reflection at how you feel internally, whether it's positive or negative, and then draw another person into that sphere of how you feel good about yourself. So when you feel good and you're positive and you're supportive of yourself, you love yourself, that will branch out into other areas of what you attract in your life. So you're going to attract people and relationships that are positive and good and uplifting. You're going to attract situations and opportunities, business opportunities that are a win-win for both people. You're going to attract, when you're in a business conversation, that everybody's giving positive, good, uplifting ideas, and it's coming together in a really good conversation that brings about new ideas and new perspectives and new ways of doing things, that people are open to hearing your ideas, you're open to hearing their ideas. Financially, you're really not focusing on the money, you're focusing on the value that you're giving. And so when you're focusing on the value that you're giving, that money comes in, you're financially supported, you're not trying to make that money, you're receiving that money because you're giving value out there in your business, in your workplace, in your career. And no matter what you do, maybe a hobby that you do makes really good money for you. And then the experiences, when you're in a good space and you're totally connected with yourself, or even while you're on the road, you don't have to be totally connected in order for good things to happen to you. You could be on the road of implementing these different aspects in your life to get good things. Now, if you're getting really good relationships with your finances aren't really working out well, then you know the relationship part of your internal connection is working out really well. And you're like, okay, I need to start visiting some of my disconnect with my finances. And so there may be really good things happening in your life, and then there may be some things that you know you need to look at, tighten up, and build some more connection within yourself, or change some of those negative beliefs that you may be having about yourself, other people, or the world, and turn that into a more learning perspective. Like instead of, gosh, I really bombed that work assignment, instead like, gosh, what can I learn from this in order to do better next time? And that's kind of changing those belief systems. So thank you so much for letting me share this with you. This stuff really excites me. It's so much that I've learned through my journey that I like to share with you. Now, please like my channel, subscribe to it, share this video with anybody that you think may learn from this video or may would like to hear about what I had to say in this video. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for subscribing, listening to my videos. Let me know if there's anything you want me to talk about. And until next time, I'll see you. Bye.